Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Abdul Wahab, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacy, Quart University of Science and Technology. My course is Community Pharmacy, and our today topic is National Drug Policy. As you know that we have discussed in our previous lecture all about the National Health Policy, but today we are going to discuss about National Drug Policy. Our discussion outline for today's topic are National Drug Policy, goal of National Drug Policy, objective of National Drug Policy, legislation for drug policy, and health policy. And we have already discussed about the health policy, so today we will discuss about the National Drug Policy, goal of National Drug Policy, objective of National Drug Policy, and legislation for drug policy. So what is National Drug Policy? A National Drug Policy is a document which covers all the areas and issues related to drugs. This document outlines all aspects of drugs which have been formulated for the first time in Pakistan to serve as a future guide. Pakistan is committed to the goal Health for All. Health for all. To achieve this, the government is taking all possible measures in the field of health services at large and drugs in particular. Similarly, formulations of the National Drug Policy thus forms an integral component of its national health policy. Purpose of each is to ensure regular availability of essential drugs. Of what? Of essential drugs of acceptable efficacy, safety, and quality at affordable prices to all, irrespective of their socio-economic status or place of living. And we will discuss about the essential drugs. Like you can see over here, essential drugs are those which meet the health care needs of the majority of population. They should therefore be available at all times in adequate amounts and in appropriate dosage forms at a price the community can afford. At the price the community can afford. Hence, they will help in combating disease and maintaining and improving the health of population. Clear? Okay. Goal of National Drug Policy. Now we will discuss about the goal of National Drug Policy. That what is the goal of National Drug Policy? The goal is to develop the availability of drugs to control common diseases and to alleviate pain and suffering. Objectives of National Drug Policy. We are going to discuss the different objectives of National Drug Policy. For example, as you can see over here, to develop and promote the concept of essential drugs. As we discuss about the essential drugs, and you know that what are essential drugs, as we discussed in our previous slides about the essential drugs, and to ensure regular, uninterrupted and adequate availability of such drugs of acceptable quality and at reasonable price. At reasonable prices. The second objective is to encourage in all related sectors and personnel the concept of rational use of drugs with a view to safeguard public health from overuse, misuse, or inappropriate use of drugs. The third objective of national drug policy is to encourage the availability and acceptability of drugs in all parts of the country, with emphasis on those which are included in the National Essential Drug List. Included in the National Essential Drug List. The fourth objective of the national drug policy is to attain self-sufficiency in formulation of finished drugs and to encourage productions of pharmaceutical raw materials by way of basic manufacture of active ingredients. To protect the public from hazards of substandard, counterfeit, and unsafe drugs. It is the fifth objective of national drug policy. Similarly, it is also the objective of national drug policy to develop adequately trained manpower in all fields related to drugs management. It is also the objective of national drug policy to develop a research base, particularly for operational and applied research, with a view to achieving the above mentioned objective. As we discussed the different objectives, similarly, to develop the pharmaceutical industry in Pakistan with a view to meeting the requirements of drugs within the country and with a view to promoting their exports to the other countries. It is also the objective of national drug policy. Legislation for drugs, that how can we legalize the drug chain, as you can see over here. Towards achieving this goal, Pakistan has drug legislation, a quality control system, and certain other elements of drug policy. In order to ensure availability of safe, effective, and quality products at reasonable prices, Pakistan has fairly modern legislation, namely the Drug Act 1976. Under this law, comprehensive rules have also been framed on various aspects of drug controls. The law provides a system of licensing of each manufacturing house and registration of all finished drugs with a view to ensure efficacy, safety, and quality of the drugs sold in the market. For licensing and registration, Central Licensing and Registration Board comprising of experts from the field of medicine and pharmacy are established. Licensing and Registration Central Licensing and Registration Board. These boards are established for controlling or for the licensing or registration of the different finished drug products. Quality control is ensured through inspections and laboratory services. The law also provides for compliance of good manufacturing practice by the manufacturer, for fixing drug prices, and for regulation of import, export, and sale of drugs. Under this act, the manufacturing, registering, and import-export are regulated by the federal government, whereas the sale is regulated by the provincial government. National Essential Drug List. National Essential Drug List. The federal government and each provincial government until 1993 had their own list of drugs for purchases for the government institutions, and thus there was lack of uniformity in these lists. There was therefore an urgent need to prepare national list of essential drugs of Pakistan to be implemented uniformly both at the federal and provincial levels. A national essential drug list of Pakistan was thus prepared in 1994 in view of the health needs of the country with the help of specialists in the field of medicine and pharmacy from all over the country. This has already been published and circulated widely throughout the country. Drug production under the title of National Drug Policy. So for the production, there is also the different policies. In 1974, there was hardly any pharma industry in Pakistan. Today, there are more than 759 pharma companies in the country, out of which 55% are nationals and 45% are multinational companies, which are fulfilling more than 95% of the domestic requirements. The Drug Regulatory Department of Pakistan works under the NHS or Ministry of National Health Services and Regulation, assured to establish a separate desk to address issues related to pharma exporters of Pakistan. In 2018, the Federal Minister for Health Services emphasized on the need of harmonization and facilitation of pharmaceutical exports by engaging Customs and the Trade and Development Authority of Pakistan (TDAP) for resolution of the grievances of pharma exporters. The Health Authority has directed its inspectors to check and monitor the stocks of protective equipment against coronavirus, and such equipment must be available for use in the country. However, the industry still depends largely on imported raw materials, and that there is no assessment of the actual requirements of drugs according to the health needs of the country. National industry and export. To encourage exports of drugs, incentive similar to those available to other value-added export industries shall be made available. An institutional mechanism shall be developed so that the national units are brought at equivalence with the international standards. Transfer of technology shall be encouraged by allowing contract manufacture by a multinational with national companies. Registration of drugs under the Drug Act 1976. Under the Drug Act 1976, all finished drugs ready for use are required to be registered through the Drug Registration Board. Under Drug Act 1976. The registration shall be granted and reviewed on the basis of established criteria of acceptable safety, efficacy, quality, and keeping in view real health needs of the country and the public interest. Drugs which are banned for safety reasons either in USA, Canada, European Union, Japan, Australia, China, Switzerland, or in the country of origin shall not be allowed to sell in Pakistan. In the labeling of drugs, the use of generic names with at least the same importance as brand names, and necessary informations in national language shall be made as a mandatory requirement. Drug pricing. Under national drug policy, efforts will be made to make availability of much needed drugs at reasonable prices. The grant of patent protections for drugs shall be only of process and not for the product. Further, after the expiry of initial period provided in the law, no extension shall be granted in case of drugs. A system for monitoring and evaluation of drug prices shall be developed. Drug supply system. Hospital pharmacy. Drug supply system. So in hospital pharmacy, scientific hospital pharmacy shall be introduced in the country both under the federal and provincial governments. Hospital pharmacists shall be appointed in all the hospitals of the country at the rate of one pharmacist for each 50 beds. If there is a 50-bed hospital, there should be one pharmacist, and this criteria is according to World Health Organization. So World Health Organization says that there should be one pharmacist for the 50-bed hospitals. They will be assigned with specific duties to provide an efficient drug supply system and, where possible, a limited productions of pharmaceuticals. The system will ensure the availability of essential drugs in health facilities. Community pharmacy, retail pharmacy. In the private sector, a system of scientific retail pharmacy service shall be introduced by taking some steps as recommended by the WHO. Pharmacists shall be made to play their role in drug management, supply and distribution. So according to WHO, World Health Organization, there should be presence of pharmacists at every community pharmacy, at every retail pharmacy, at every medical store. So these are the instructions of World Health Organization. If you want to stop the illegal use of medicines, then there should be a registered pharmacist at every clinic, a community pharmacy. So the presence of a registered pharmacist at every community pharmacy is the demand of World Health Organization. The sale of all potent drugs shall be restricted only on prescription of registered medical practitioners. So it means that without prescription, there should be no dispensing of medicines. To begin with, all psychoactive drugs, hormonal and steroidal preparations, and antibiotics shall be so restricted. Quality assurance and the national drug policy. So quality assurance include both inspections and laboratory services. Inspection and laboratory services. Inspection services. At the federal level, federal drug inspectors are working to monitor compliance of good manufacturing practices at the manufacturing level, whereas at the provincial level, regular inspectors of drugs in various grades as district, divisional, and chief inspectors have been appointed. Laboratory services. Presently, there are 5 drug testing laboratories in the country. 4 are for routine analysis, out of which 1 is under the federal government at Karachi, a central drug laboratory, and 1 each under the provincial government of Punjab, Sindh, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Karachi, Peshawar respectively. The law provides that anyone who is not satisfied with the result of these laboratories can appeal requesting for retesting of the sample by an appellate laboratory. Sorry, I have written over here NWFP, but actually it is a Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Research and development. In the field of research, Drug Act 1976 requires the manufacturers to contribute a certain percentage of their profit, means 1%, towards a drug research fund. These funds will be spent for conducting research on the development of new drugs and encouraging rational drug therapy. A comprehensive rational drug research program will be jointly developed by the universities and research institutes active in this field according to national health priorities. So it was all about the national drug policy, and in our previous lecture we have discussed about the national health policy. So thank you so much. God bless you. See you again. Allah Hafiz.